Nothing but love, a huge amount of gratitude, and an unbelievable amount of thanks for everything that we've been afforded. You guys work your asses off. You work outside. Some of you work in. All of you work hard. Some of you hate your jobs, but you give us your time, and you give us even more when we ask for help to help another human being. Without fail, every time, 100% of the time, you have always made it happen. It wasn't us. It was never us. It was always you. It was always you. Is that, hold on. And to that point, guys, hey, Jake told me that you just called. Is this Candy?
Hi, Johnny. This is Candy. I'm in shock. I just wanted to call and say thank you. You guys helped my family back in 2021 at Christmas with Hope of the Holidays. I don't think you guys know how many families you guys have affected, and I just wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for everything you guys have done.
What Candy? What year was it?
It was in 2021. Chad, my husband was a firefighter, came down with glioblastoma in 2020.
Yes.
And you gave us the best Christmas ever. And it was his last Christmas, and you gave him the hope, as it says, hope for the holidays. And his last 5 months, they were hard, but he wasn't worried anymore for us.
Walk, because I think it's important to let a city know if they don't remember or they didn't hear what they did. You had written us a letter, and your husband had been diagnosed with glioblastoma. I remember this, and if I remember right, he was National Guard, and he was less than 50 years old, right?
Yeah, he was 47.
And what was going on with you? What did you guys need help with?
Glioblastoma takes so much from everything, and he couldn't work anymore, and we were starting to fall behind on bills. And you guys stepped up. You opened the doors. Our story got out. Firefighters from everywhere stepped in to help. And his brotherhood and Lawrence, they stepped in. It was just incredible.
Oh.
And that's just what you've done for so many people. And I wanted to say thank you. Thank you so much for everything you guys have done. Everybody there. The hope for the holidays. I still can't believe it's going away. And wherever you land, let us all know, because we want to help.
Oh, I love you, and I appreciate you picking up the phone and calling.
I appreciate you, Johnny. You don't know how much I appreciate you guys. So
stay right there. Hold on a second, man. Guys, I gotta get Bobby in a few minutes too.
You have a couple more people who are calling real quick. One of them you'll want to take. One of them you might not want to take.
Give me the bad news first.
Klaus.
Hey, Klaus.
Good morning. I know it's not a great morning, but super sucks losing the number one rated morning show. Nikki, good morning. Good morning,
baby.
Kate. I can't wait to see this summer out there for some dirty Nickies over at the our favorite restaurant.
Yes.
So, John, I'm going to tell my stories. Nobody really knows how me and you met. I'm going to go way, way back. I got a phone call at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. Some guy calls me, say, "Hey, man, I just had all this curbing poured around my landscaping, and I need to buy some gravel."
Yep, it's true.
And I said, "How much gravel you need, sir?" He said, "Man, I have no idea." I said, "Well, dude, where you live at?" And he didn't live far from where I was at. And I said, "Hey, I'll just come by after work today, and we'll try to figure it out." So we get over there and figured it all out. Next thing out of John's mouth was, "Hey, man, you want a beer?" That's where it took off from there. Okay, great friends, moved on. I bet you forgot about this one. We decided we were going to become professional lawnmower racers.
No, I haven't forgotten that. You tried to kill me.
So I spend countless hours building this racing tractor. In Edwardsville, they had the small track, and we decided I'm gonna get John on this thing. We're gonna get out there, and we're gonna become professional lawnmower racers. John goes out, runs I think one heat race. He gets off that thing. He goes, "There ain't no way in hell I'm racing this thing. You're gonna get me killed." So we moved on from that career. I came in a little bit of money. Me and Jerry and Steve and decided we're going to build a haunted house. John said, "I think that's a terrible idea."
I did.
Terrible idea.
I thought it was an awful idea. Terrible. $10,000 each.
Idea.
Yep.
I think your exact words was, why don't you just buy a Ferris wheel, right?
Yeah.
Put it in your front yard, which I still would love to have one today. So moving forward, Johnny spent so many countless hours in that haunted house that nobody even knows about, late at night, coming up with the next greatest big idea. Me and him in there trying to create the next biggest fog machine. Remember all the nights how we'd fog that thing up and look like it was burning outside?
Sure, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Such great times. And, John, all the great memories, man, the people that I got to meet and hang out with that I've become great friends with today. I mean, it's just, I can't say enough about it. It's just awesome. You never forget all that stuff. And thank you very, very much from the bottom of my heart. I've made so many great friends being friends with you.
Well, I love you, man. I love you.
Yeah. I love all you guys. Well, I wish you nothing but the best. I'm always here hanging out. So just give me a shout for lunch anytime.
All right, brother. I love you.
All right.
You're the best. All right. I can't thank you enough for putting me through this so I can hear Klaus's life story. Jake's like, Klaus wants to say thank you. And I go, what? And I put it, by the way, that's Klaus's and I's relationship the entire time. Klaus called me on my last day at work to tell me that I was at his haunted house. So
he said he called to say thank you. I didn't realize it was a shining moment.
God bless him, man. God bless.
Take the next call. You're going to like it.
I bet I will. Hello, Rock, you're on the air. Hello.
What up, my brother?
Goddamn, man.
You leaving a stain, as always. Leaving a stain. I love the fact that you celebrate the 32 years, and you know we thank God for social media. The whole city, we all got on social media last night. We decided that on Monday morning, everybody's just going to be over in your front yard at 6 a.m. and so everybody already knows where you live because all your Halloween stuff that you put up. So we'll just all be over there 6 a.m. Monday morning, and just we'll convert over to a live show. You know, that's the whole thing. You remember the story about Jimmy Puckett when prior to Jackal, Jimmy Puckett was my mentor, and he was great. And there was a time when we'd almost had success, and I'd had a lot of success regionally, and so but never gotten a big record deal. And Jimmy used to look at me, and he was a little bit older than I, and he'd say, "You got to go get you some good-looking guys and go get you a record deal. You got to go get you a record deal. I'm going to stop playing with you because you got to go and move on and get this next big thing." And I think in a way, Odyssey has just done that with you. They basically said you too big for radio, and there's got to be a bigger play here. So we and until we can get past the non-competes and stuff, we'll just be meeting in your yard every morning at 6 a.m.
That's what we'll do. Well, listen, one of the great things in my life, Jesse, is becoming family with you. And I remember the first time we met, and it was way back in the very first day, the very first radio station that we were in, the first building that we were in, the little sit-down studio. And then Woodstock 94.
It was a goddamn closet.
Yeah.
I was walking. It was my first record.
Yep.
The first Jackal album came out, and Doug Sorensen, God bless him, and God rest his soul, but Doug, big statue of a guy walking us through the radio station. So proud of that radio station, and it was in that little house. And we go back, he opens up, I'll take you back to the studio, and he opens the door, and literally Johnny's back is up against the door because there was just enough room for him to slide in between the console and the door and to do his show. And Johnny looks over his shoulder and goes, "Hey, man." And that was good to meet you, Johnny.
Yep.
And then the next thing that I know, we were playing Woodstock 94, like not after that, and just all the layers of security at Woodstock. And they had it buttoned down like Fort Knox. They took us off the stage, the dressing room compound with everybody from us to Metallica to Joe Cocker to you name it. We're all sequestered back there in that held up. And it's the tightest security ever. I get back to the bus. Everybody on the band is going up on the bus, and I hear, "Hey, dude!" And Johnny all the way up into the Woodstock, and then it just goes on and on. I mean the trip to France to see AC/DC and peeing on the Eiffel Tower and bringing in Kiefer Sutherland for that couple of nights of debauchery with all that stuff, and then Sonny Barger up in going into the back steps of the Hells Angels clubhouse and the stuff. I was thinking, Sweet Connie. I mean, Connie. Me walking up on the bus in Little Rock, Arkansas with Connie trying to take your pants off. And when you passed out after a cocaine bending ignite them.
That's true. That's a true story.
My
Yes.
cell phone, Nikki, my cell phones were brand new back then. I had one of the new flip phones that was like, I was so proud of myself because I had a flip phone.
Mm-hmm.
I wake up the next morning and Johnny busted that thing into pieces because they pulled him off the air from raising hell about the military. But it goes on and on. And, I was just thinking about the whole journey that we've had with you remember, I got one last one. You remember on your birthday whenever we showed up with all those strippers and we took over the radio station?
Yes.
And the program director at the time was in. We had a naked girl up on his desk. The whole station just went straight. And remember, I tried to find a goat because I was going to I was going to give you a goat.
They'd driven up from Arkansas and they'd stopped at a farmer's place. And then imagine these sons of bitches get off a tour bus with the way they look. And he's like, man, we'd like to buy one of your goats. And why? We're going to give it to our friend for his birthday. And thank God they did not show up with a goat. But they literally stopped at 2 different farms trying to buy a goat to bring in.
I stopped at one place and chased a bunch of sheep around. I was trying to get something. But I say, y'all think y'all know we're not kidding. But the stars aligned with the Johnny Dare Morning Show because you were at the right place at the right time when radio was so competitive, and every major competition from Howard Stern to you name it, they brought into Kansas City to try to unseat you, and you just kicked ass on every single challenge. And the city stayed behind you. Man, I'm so proud of you. So proud of you. And the other thing is that people don't realize this. When Bill Clinton was in office, he deregulated radio. And they started these witch hunts for the radio, the air personalities. They called them shock jocks. And Johnny had done all this stuff. He'd been buried. It just all the insanity and crazy and the literal sexual acts that was happening in the studio on air. And Johnny was at the top of the list with every single top national syndicated guy out there. Johnny was target number 1. And people don't realize the amount of fines that you guys had to pay because the government was on a binge to wipe you out.
Yep.
And they did. They forced Stern and everybody to satellite, and they cleaned house on all of that. And Johnny came to a crossroads, guys, to where he had to make a decision because the entire crew that he had around him, the team that on the air and everybody loves, everybody up to that point, it seemed, my observation, everybody was just holding on for dear life because every day was a damn stick of dynamite going off. But the team had to come together at that point because the show had to either concede and disappear because of the witch hunt, or it had to become a smarter show. And that's when everyone on the team really put their A game. Jake, Greg, just everybody involved. AJ, just everybody. And the A game stood up. And out of that adversity came a better show even. A smarter show, funny. Man, I love you. Couldn't be more proud of you.
I'm so proud to call you a friend, Jesse. And I love you. And you've been an unrelenting force in my life. And you've shown me so many different things. And you've opened so many doors. And most of all, what I stole from you was your fearlessness, to walk through that door, to not be afraid, to say yes, to try something that freaks you out, and to do it anyway. And no matter what, man, you've been the one guy my entire life that no matter what, I knew if I called, you'd pick up the phone. If I needed something, you were there. And you knew even when I didn't know I needed a hand, you showed up and you'd give me a hand. And I'll always, you're my brother, and I love you so much.
You celebrate these 32 years, and I'm celebrating seriously the things that are to come.
Yep.
And this is not just a bunch of guys that work together. It's family, and there's so much. It's really just a matter of letting the cards fall where they need to fall, because you're not done in any way. And the city is experiencing a great loss right now. And folks, there's nothing wrong. And like Johnny said, this is not about anger. And it's not, and it's such a blessing that the station allowed Johnny to have a final show. That speaks to Johnny's character, because these corporate groups are soulless, and they just are. It's dollars, it's stock market, and the fact that even those people that had to make this decision for the financial reasons or whatever their God knows justification is, it speaks to everyone on the show, the integrity that they trust you to have, the integrity that you have in the class that each one of you have, to be able to allow you to have one last show and say goodbye. The city deserved this show. The city deserved the show. And I'm a better man for knowing and working with all of you. And I celebrate not just today's show in the 32 years, but I celebrate what the F is to come. So look out, mother.
Jesse James Dupree, I love you, man. I love you so much. I'll call you later.
Have a great day. God bless you, Kansas City. Long live Johnny Dare's morning show.
Is the final day. 32 years, and this is it. We're down to the final 45 minutes of the show. They gave us the news yesterday, 9:30, that we were done. And listen, it happens, guys. Many of you guys listening out there have been fired in your lives. Well, I'm surprised as anybody it took 32 years for them to figure out it was time. But it is. And so they allowed us to come back and say thank you. And that really is what this entire 4 hours is about. I've always had a fear, and Nikki and I have talked about it, and Jake and I, and Bob and I, that I would be someday taken off the air. We would be taken off the air, and we'd never get to say goodbye and say thank you and say, hey, man, thank you. Like everything we have, you guys did it. You guys listening. That's the beautiful part of radio, as I've learned about it over the years. It's the give and the take. It's the connection with human beings. It's the idea that you can host the party and enjoy it yourself too. I've been, all the musicians I've got to meet, and the comedians, the friends I've made, the friends outside of the business that this has led me to, the gift for a kid to be able to do this and walk in these hallways and to turn on this mic and put on these headphones and to do everything I've been afforded to do. The people I've been afforded to, people I admired from so far away as a kid, astronauts for God's sakes, Buzz Aldrin himself, the Fonz. If you'd have told me when I was a kid, I loved that TV show so much, Happy Days. One day, we would be friends. Henry Winkler. Dude, you guys gave us that. This show gave us that. This ability, that's what happened. And there can't be any anger after 32 years. And I don't believe this is the end of the show at all. It's the end of us and our association with The Rock. But I want The Rock to go on, and it will, I promise you. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure that there's another home for us somewhere. I think. And if there isn't, then man, what a great run it's been. But it has been one of those things, man. Here's another one that Craig Gass has become a great friend, man. Craig, hey man, I saw you on the hot.
God damn.
What are you doing, man?
I know you're talking to Jesse James Dupree, but whoever the a-hole was that decided, you know what, let's play I Stand Alone while we do this. Like, that is cruel. Is it because Jackal doesn't have a song called I'm in the unemployment line that you just went with the closest thing?
Easy, Tiger. You're talking about a brother, man. Come on now. Oh, where did he go? Did I lose him? I lost the button. There you are. Sorry, I lost you. There you are. What's up?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, I got your back.
All right. Dude, it felt so good to actually be able to tell Jake, dude, you don't understand, man. If you don't put me on the air, my boss is going to fire me. That felt so good.
Hilarious.
That felt so good. I wanted to check in with you because there's one person that's missing from this broadcast that might have been the biggest key to your entire 30-plus years on the air, and he's joining me right now. And he's been asking me to get on the phone with you. Hold on one second here.
There we go.
Hey, Johnny, it's Craig Laser. How you doing, buddy?
From the grave. Craig Laser, everybody, from the grave.
Yep.
Amazing.
All right, Greg, I hesitate to ask where you're calling from. Is it high elevation?
No, I'm down here in hell, I'm not lying. I'm not lying. It's great down here, man. I mean, all the women down here turn black, so it's pretty cool. And what are you going to do? You're going to find him now. The show's almost over, so it's weird down here in hell. I haven't seen Barger. I haven't seen George. So I don't know where they are. I don't know where they are.
Right.
But they're not down here with me. But Johnny, I know it's your last show, and I know you've had an incredible run, and this is it, and this is your final broadcast. So from the bottom of my heart, I wanted to be able to tell your audience that the King of Sting is finally being made into a movie.
I know, and everybody's happy. And everybody's very happy for you, Craig.
And the producers are telling me, and I'm not lying about this, the producers say that Jason Momoa is probably going to play me. They think he looks just like me. They think he looks just like me. So,
yes.
Yeah, but I'm running a one-nighter down here, and we got a couple gigs, and I just want to plug Ralphie May is performing tonight, 8 o'clock.
Christ.
So, we're just giving away the tickets. Do you have the phone number for the club?
Could you put gas back on so I can say thank you?
Dude, can I just tell you from the heart, I am a guy who travels all around the world. I've been on every radio station around the world, and you start to get an idea of what kind of radio makes people react and what doesn't. And I'm telling you, there is something so rare. It's not just you, Johnny. It's Greg's crazy ability to be a one-man band and make these unbelievable music beds that sound exactly like the songs that he's parodying. His ability to make these cool intros for all the guests that come on that make them feel special because they feel like you're actually paying attention to them. Jake's ability to threaten people to be on the air. And then in the middle of it, I was so intimidated by this show, this Johnny Dare show that I heard that I need to come to Kansas City to do. I couldn't believe that in the middle of it was just a guy who loves his dog. It was one of the sweetest things I'd ever. It threw me to get to know you, and I'm just excited about whatever's going to happen next. I feel like you should do a show, like throw a show together and do like a roast or something. But whatever you do next, I'm just excited to go meet you wherever you're at. And man, the amount of heart that you have, that you've shared with your listeners about your love of your dogs, your love of your friends, it's very rare. And I'll always remember the one thing you said to me when I came into town as George was dealing with what he was dealing with. And I said, man, you flew all the way out there to be with George and you did the broadcast. And you said, Craig, I can always make more money. I won't be able to make more friends. And that hit me so hard. You're just an incredibly beautiful human being. I can't wait to hang out with you again. I wanted to say those words to you, tell you that I love you. And Craig wants to plug his club. I'm not going to put him back on the phone. And I love you, and I will see you soon, whatever the next thing is. And I can't wait to hang out with you again. And I'll get out of here so you can let the other people in to come and say what they're doing. So.
I love you. Craig Gass, thank you, brother. Thank you, man. That's one Dude, again, these are the people. I can't thank you enough. Hold on. Let me talk to Rick. Rick Worth. Rick Worth's with us. Hey, Rick.
Johnny, hey, what a run, my friend.
Yeah.
My Lord. Who would have thought 30 years ago you made me break up? So did that fat boy. My God. We're here today. You did it. I mean, I never thought 30 years later I'd have such a close friend. And I know this isn't the end of the book for us by any means, because it's not. But this chapter's over, and it's hard to turn that last page.
Yeah, no, I
love you, man.
It brought us together. So the Worth family I met through your mom, of course, through Bev, and then I bought my very first motorcycle, which meant so much to me. You guys will never understand listening. Like when I tell you it meant so much to me, it was the culmination of I might be somebody, and I wanted it so bad. I mean, I wanted it more than I've ever wanted any material object in my entire life. It meant more to me to buy that than you'll ever understand. That first red Fat Boy, and I mean, I rode it, and I was just so proud. But what came with it was a family and a friendship with the Worth family that's been all of these years. And I've watched your kids being born and been there with your mom and dad and your wife, Treva. And I've watched the business grow and we've become friends, and everything that we've seen and done and I've been a part of, I can't tell you. It's the gift. It's the biggest gift. And I keep trying to put it into words to people listening. Like, that's why I'm not mad. And I'm certainly sad. But everything I've been given through this job, man, I would never have known you, Rick. And I love you so much. And you've been such an incredible friend to me.
Well, thank you. It goes both ways, my friend. And like I said, this is just the end of the chapter. And I can't wait to go to that next level with you, friend.
Well, we've seen some stuff, haven't we?
Oh, God. A lot of stuff we can't even talk about right now.
You are, and I'll tell you, man, the nicest thing anybody's ever done for me. He and Jesse and Chris Guerin and all the guys in the shop conspired. I had sold that red fat boy. And it always bothered me, and they used to bust my balls about it. I sold it for the 97, and they we heard it was in a field. Oh, we heard the guy crashed. Oh, we heard it's in pretty bad shape. He's not taking care of it. And it became a long-running joke years and years. But, man, I never stopped talking about it. I regretted selling it so much. And at the anniversary, the 20th, I never even spotted it. On the side of the stage, there was a giant tarp. Jesse is playing, and they stopped the show. And I'm watching the show, and I see Rick, and I see Chris, and I see all the guys from Worth, and I see all the wrenches and all the mechanics in the back and everybody. And they bring me out, and they found the bike. Where was it? Was it in Kentucky, Rick?
Yeah, it was in Kentucky, and they were right. They didn't take very good care of it.
So
it wasn't even red anymore.
Oh,
it is now.
And they went through hell and high water to try to get it back. The guy didn't want to sell it, and then he thought it was a scam, and he ended up just trading this giant, way too much of a motorcycle for this busted motorcycle that was the original bike. Then they took it back into the shop, and they restored it 100% to the original OEM, the exact motorcycle I bought when I was just 24 years old, and gave it to me. Just handed it to me, and it's the single most cherished thing I own.
Man, I love you, buddy. That means a lot to me to have you say that. But like I said, we're gonna go to that next level together. This isn't the end for us. That I assure you.
No, sir. No, sir. It's not. And I got to tell you, I know you know this, but I'll say it 100 more times. Your friendship means more to me than you understand.
So thank you, Johnny. I better get off here and let some other people get back on, because I know your schedule's tight, and Jake's going to cut me off in a second.
I love you, and I love your whole family. Love to everybody, man.
Thank you.
All right, dude. That's all very true.
Yeah.
That there's never
which is unheard of that somebody would do that with the help of other friends.
I'll pull the curtain back. The replacement on that motorcycle was probably almost twice what the original price was. And
it's unheard of.
And again, it doesn't mean I'm not judging it by that. I'm telling you, it was so deep and such a move and such an incredible thing to do for somebody. Every time I ride that, I get choked up. Who's on the hot now?
Hey, Bob Post is on there, Don Post's son.
So you remember Don Post. Don Post was one of our dearest friends. Don Post was the heart and soul of Bikers for Babies. If you were ever in Bikers for Babies, you knew Don Post was the man in the wheelchair with ALS. Don was sick. They told him he was going to die in a few years, and he lived 35 more years. He outlived two of his doctors that told him he was going to die. And the day they told him he had ALS, which is a death sentence, he started to give his life. He didn't drink a bunch. He didn't carouse. He didn't get mad. He didn't shake his fist at the sky. He just started to do charity work. And it's all he did for 35 more years. He did it through every pain, every time ALS would steal his movement, his ability to push forward. He was in a wheelchair. His hands would barely go. He could hardly talk. And it's what he did. And he inspired us to push it harder and further than we could have ever done it without him. He was one of those men that I will forever be thankful for because I got to know. Hey, Bob.
Yeah.
Hey, man, we're on the air. I was just talking about your dad.
Hey, John.
I was just talking about
your
dad.
Man, yeah, he was a huge fan of yours, and one of the thousands of people that got to call you friend, and man, and that was probably the highlight of his life, dude. some of the, all the stuff he went through, and for you to be there to just lift him up, and your staff and the entire city of Kansas City, man, the love you guys showed for that guy. I hope he reflected it back to you and well enough that you understand what he meant to you, or what you meant to him. Sorry.
No, your dad was, I remember when your dad was passing, and I was so sad, and we were all visiting. They're like, you should come. It's his time. And I remember sitting by your dad, and I was just crushed. Because he reached over and he said, John, that voice, it was always that ALS screwed up voice, right? He goes, John.
Absolutely.
Just don't be sad. And he would just tell me that, and I was like, what are you talking about? You're dying. And he was so worried that other people were going to be upset about him dying, and he wanted to relay to me, I could understand him perfectly. He just kept telling me he was excited about what was on the other side, and he was ready to find out. But I shouldn't be sad about it. And I'll always remember this, looking in your dad's eye, and how brave, and how, just when you thought you couldn't admire someone more, you went, holy cow, like, you're the best, you're the strongest man. What a human being, and I'm just so proud to have called him a friend. Yeah, and it goes both ways, brother. I mean, you're not just a friend to him, you're a family, you know that. And it means a lot that, his funeral was during lockdown, and you were one of the few non-family members that was invited and was able to attend, and that meant a lot that you were able to be there for that, man. I appreciate that. And like I said, everything you did for him, it's remarkable. Your heart, I can't even put into words what you meant, man. Can't even put into words. Dude, the day they announced he was the humanitarian of the year in Vegas, because that was Pat Warren who got him in, and then the city again got behind him and got that vote done. It was a national vote. I remember sitting in that ballroom at the Wynn in Vegas in front of all of those people, and it was such a big black tie gala event, televised. Every owner, every driver, nothing but rock stars, musicians, everybody who was anybody was there. And I was so upset. I was like, I remember thinking, if he doesn't win, like, I'm gonna freak out. And they announced his voice. They announced his name, and it was one of the greatest moments of my life. And not just that, but he set a record for the most votes that year too. That was right. Yeah, he did. That was that was embarrassingly awesome. Yeah, it was super good, man. What a night. Yeah. Well, listen, I won't keep you on, because I know you got a crap ton of people that want to say hi. And again, man, thank you for being a friend to him, to all of us. Thank you for the city of Kansas City, for all you guys did, man. I really appreciate you, and I love you, brother. It was a moment, man.
98.9 The Rock congratulates the NASCAR 2013 Humanitarian of the Year.
I am proud to announce the winner of the third Betty Jane France Humanitarian Award. And it goes to Don Post.
Not only will Don be bringing the $100,000 donation from the NASCAR Foundation, Kansas Speedway has announced they will match the $100,000 for a grand total of $200,000 for Bikers for Babies in Don Post's name.
And to everyone who Facebooked, tweeted, put it on the backs of trucks, on banners, on billboards, etched in glass, made videos, and spread the word. Everyone who voted Don Post, well done. I knew you could do it. Congratulations, Don. You really are the humanitarian of the year. It never ends. I go back over 32 years, and I'm like, golly, that happened too. And I'm missing a million things. Of course. It's all the people, but it comes down to the idea, and we're in the last 25 minutes of the show, guys. And then that's that. But the opportunity to say thank you to you guys listening. You'll never know how grateful I am for everything. The moments that we've had together, everybody on the show, getting to become friends with Nikki, Jake, and Greg, of course, has been family all my life. Kyle, now you're here. T, everybody who's ever worked the show, Coogan, Double J, Murph, everybody who's ever a part of this, man. I'm like, what a crazy idea that you would end up having this run. But it all started with one guy. His name is AJ. That's how I got the gig from Young Country to The Rock. AJ was a night guy, and AJ got this gig. And he and I got into it. Greg and I worked at Z-Rock, this little AM 1030 station. This big roaring radio station came in and was decimating us. And so the only thing you can do at that moment is look at the giant and give him double birds and tell him to suck your dick. And I mean, that's because you were going to get smashed. You knew what was coming, right? We were AM 1030 and you were KQRC, and it came on and it was like a monster storm. Like, it was brutal. So then we lock eyes somewhere at a concert.
We were at the Metallica show.
Yeah,
you got to do a stage announcement, and that was our first show as a radio station that we got to be involved with. So seeing you up on stage and saying, "Hey, anyone else but Z-Rock can S my D." And I remember
a true professional, I want to point out.
Well, I remember coming up to you backstage, and I said, "Hey," I said, "what's your name?" And you're like, "Hey, Johnny." And I'm like, "Hey, Johnny, next time you're on stage, promote your radio station, not ours." And
that's hilarious.
And we became friends. And it was shortly after that, I was like, "Man, there's something about this kid that we've got to get him at 98.9 The Rock." And I, politicked, for you to get over there. And
he got me in my interviews. He was the one. We're having dinners together. We were making over at the house with your crazy ass girlfriend.
I remember being up on top of the Skelly building when you still worked over at Z-Rock, pulling the light bulbs out of the
Christmas
sockets and throwing them at people down in the streets of
Drunk
the plaza.
Drunk as balls.
But no, man, it was. I knew immediately that you had to be part of this, because I knew that you were a key to take us where we wanted to go, and I never would have thought that this would have lasted 30-some years. But here we are, and I echo everybody's sentiments today. Would just thank you for giving me a career, man, and allowing us to play around for 30-some years and do something that we love, and in a community that I've grown to love, who's supported me when I had a tough time last year going through a heart attack, and you were there every day to just give me hope, and it's been a special run, man. So something I'll cherish forever, and I never thought that. Look, we've talked about this day for so many years.
Yeah.
The fact that it's here is amazing, and it will be tough, man, because it's been part of my routine every day, is getting up in the morning and flicking on the app and just waking up to laughs and to tears, whether it be hope for the holidays, whether it be getting fired up to go into the weekend knowing we've got Rockfest coming up, or the times you were buried, frozen, and entombed, that just brought this community together. And man, I a lot of times in this business, you don't get the chance to really have it go your way, and the fact that it's gone our way as long as it has, man, it's something I'll cherish and near and dear to my heart forever, man. And we'll always be brothers, man. And
without a doubt. No, we've got to do everything, AJ. We've seen it all. I mean, we've seen everything. We've seen the best of each other. We've seen not the best of each other. We've watched everything grow from an absolute train wreck to a much larger train wreck. But nobody would have ever bet on this horse. And we've had this discussion a million times. All of us, the first group of us, the misfits, the miscreants, the ne'er-do-wells, the nobody else wants you talent that we collected, that Doug Sorensen and John Schweitzer collected. Nobody else wanted those guys. Nobody. There was the bottom of the barrel. You're the busted ones. And how we got here, I'll never know.
I'll tell you, it's just because you have a standard in how you go about your business. And I think that to be able to work in this room, to work for this radio station, there's a certain standard I think that you set a bar at and pushed us all to a certain level, and that's why we're here. And it's because you had a standard, and we just tried to reach that bar, and just going about that for 30-some years, where you're just constantly trying to get just a little bit better, a little bit, more efficient, and that's the reason we're here, man, is because of the way you've gone about your business to push the people around you to be great.
I love you.
And
I love your family.
That's why I really thank you for everything that you've ever done, is to show me that standard, what it's like to be a true pro and a true compassionate, empathetic human being that, so many things from your life that I've transferred into mine that has made me a better person. I think Jack Ancona say it earlier, man, you've made me better. Thank you.
Bastard. Bastard. Oh, you're a bastard.
Well, here to ruin your morning is Bob. So.
Oh, yeah. You know what? There's a way to dry up everything, not just tears.
That's hurtful. That's hurtful. So
Bob and I, man, so I was about 10 years, 12 years into this thing. 10 years into it when we met?
10 years into it when we met, yeah. I got hired for The Rock at a radio convention. I never even had came to Kansas City. And the person that hired me, a gentleman by the name of Pat Paxton, said, hey, the challenge at The Rock is, I need someone who can manage Johnny Dare. Johnny Dare is a hard guy to manage. I need someone who's up for that job. And then now you're the best friend I ever had. Besides working together, just the best friend I've ever had. And yeah, I just I appreciate everyone on this show. I'd probably programmed for good 15, 20 years before I got here, and I've learned a lot about radio from everybody here. Just so knocked out by Greg's talent and what he brings to the table, and just the creativity and the spontaneity and how fast you can whip stuff out. And I've always appreciated Jake so much, because when this room is going crazy, it's nice to have like one normal guy to ask like what happened, and then Jake can always answer that question for me. And Kyle, you've done such a great job as you were thrown in at this into the fire and a lot of fire. You've done great, even though you still look like deer in the headlights. I get it. And and on the last day, we can get rid of any bias. Nikki, you've always been my favorite. So the rest of you take that as you will. But Nick, thanks so much. And then Johnny, I mean, we've had the most amazing experiences, the closest moments, the most brutal moments. I mean, I remember one time we got into a fight so bad in my office, the program director 3 doors down threw up in his trash can and had to go home and had to leave, so.
Bless his heart.
That's absolutely true.
That actually happened. And then on the other side of that coin, I remember calling Johnny once in a panic saying, hey, I need to borrow 2 chainsaws and a gun. And you're like, what is going on? I said, my parents just got wiped out by a hurricane in Panama City, and I need 2 chainsaws and a gun, and because I got to go. And then, of course, I don't know, a handful of hours later, Johnny's in the car with me, going to help me, and I couldn't have figured that out without you. And we went down to Panama City and rescued my poor folks. And there's been, I can't even begin to talk about the number of times you've been so good to me and so kind to me. And I've learned a lot about radio from you. I mean, I've just learned a lot from you and the experiences we've had. And I've been damn near killed with you a couple times, once on a mountainside in Mexico in the middle of a storm. And
no, we faced death together. When I tell you, for real, people will say that, I'm like, no, we were as close as you get without being dead. But more importantly, man, you made this possible, Bob. Like this 20-year run, it wouldn't have worked without you.
Well,
it just wouldn't have. The way
I appreciate you saying that.
Every PD that comes in, everybody wants to put their thumb on you or in you, and you have to, the drill. You either have to run your own thing and not listen to anybody, but you got to have somebody to run tackle for you. You have somebody to block for you, because management is always up your ass. It doesn't matter. These guys are in a completely different business than I'm in. I'm in the business of trying to make you guys listening feel okay, to have a good time, to come back tomorrow, to spend time with us, to make you laugh or think or feel something. And they're in the job of selling commercials, and that's great. But those are 2 widely different things. And if you don't have a guy like Bob who understands what it takes to do this show and to run your back and to defend you and to fight your fights outside of this and let you do your thing, you'll never survive. It's unsurvivable without a guy like you.
Well, I appreciate that. And I would say that everyone on this show and you guys have made me look good for an awful long time. So I sit back in my office playing the same songs over and over again. Ratings come out. The morning show's driving the radio station, and I'm like, look, our ratings are great. Must be me.
Yeah.
So you made me look good for a really, really long time, and I appreciate it.
He'll tell anybody who listens, like, what was it like when you and I met? What did you do for me?
I said, you were a fresh-faced, kid with a gleam in his eye that I decided to give a shot to, and I look at, what you've accomplished, and I always say to myself, what can't leadership do?
But we have ridden how many miles, honestly? And people wondered, like, this. None of this has been imagined or made up. Our friendship, everything about us has been lived out on the air. Everything about this show has been lived out on the air. Greg, Jake, Nikki, Kyle, everybody, AJ, heart attacks, divorces, lives, kids, deaths, parents, sadness, happiness, adventures, good, bad, everything has been lived out on the air. And that's the craziest thing is I'm like, so I won't do that anymore. Like, we won't do that anymore. This therapy that the city has given me, I'm pretty sure I'd be a lot crazier than I am if I didn't have a way to let it out.
It has been the strangest thing for me, as you guys might have figured out. I might not be the most emotional guy on the planet. So just sharing my life, on the air as open as it's been was a really big adjustment for me and a tough adjustment for me. But it's been great, and I feel like from a radio standpoint that you're the guy that taught me the humanity side of things, because that's I was always a mechanical sort of guy, but you definitely taught me the humanity side of it, the emotional side of it, the plug-in side of it, and you made me, I've learned so much from you, and you made me so much better in my career, and I'll always appreciate that. But the friendship, that's the real deal, that's the enduring deal, and that is,
How many miles do you think we've ridden?
I actually did the math on that because we talked about it not too long. It was 300,000. We've done about 300,000 miles on bikes together. Yeah,
300,000 miles in trips over the years. It's
the two of you.
Yeah, because no one else likes us.
Yeah. People have asked, like,
they come and go.
Nobody else is going to do it.
People have asked, like, does it work better just with two guys? I'm like, no, nobody else wants to come. And we've been such, poor planners. I remember we were coming out of the Baja Peninsula. We got to, it's in August. We get to the south end of the Mojave Desert at 1 o'clock in the afternoon and have to travel across the desert to Las Vegas, and just thinking, it's 120 degrees. We're sitting on motorcycles. We couldn't have planned this any more poorly, but doing all those things. And I remember once just watching you just be literally a half a second from getting killed in a head-on car accident. We pulled off. Thankfully, obviously, you survived. We pulled off to the side of the road. I'm freaked out. Johnny's panting. He just looks at me after, this near-death experience. And I said, man, I was a half a second away from having my own show. and you did not laugh at that time. So, so, so many experiences. And and a lot more to come. And that's what's completely awesome. But I know there's a lot more to come for sure. So,
man, it was, God, I remember back when it all happened, the FCC violation, which was almost the end of it. Like, that's something that, and you guys listening, I'll tell you, when you get an FCC violation and you get in the business, especially at that time, it was such a boogeyman, the idea. Like, if you always thought if you got a big FCC obscenity violation, like a big black van pulled up and guys in SWAT gear kicked the windows in and they came in and the government took you away for being a dirty mouth pig. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I'm not kidding. Like, it was the most unforgivable thing you can think about in radio is to get an FCC violation. And the reason is, I'll pull the curtain back a little, we have these things, they're licensed. So you have a license to be on the radio. All we own is the equipment. The government owns the ability to go on that channel. And at any time, they can just pull it away from you because you've pissed them off. So when you get them up your ass, it's a bad day. Now, there's not even a court you go to. When they decide you're guilty, they just tell you what you're going to pay. There's nowhere to plead your case. You just have to pay, or they pull your ticket, and all of a sudden a $60,000 or $60 million radio station is gone. So you're a rat bastard when it happens, man. When it happened to us, did it happen to us?
Yes, it did. Yes, yeah.
Front page of the paper, every station's carrying it. I was like, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Yeah, exactly. You wonder if you're going to wind up in jail. But that was... I don't even know how to describe that experience. It was scary to say the least, and you naturally have the corporate guys coming down and the huge fine and all over the newspaper, and you're right, it was $250,000 here in Kansas City, but we were also simulcast at that point on 2 stations in Wichita, so the actual fine was $750,000. So,
and the worst part is, I was kind of proud of it.
Of course,
I was just like, "Hey, man, that's not a badge of honor. That's $750K." Yeah.
But so much of that, like, and poor Bob's had to sit in so many meetings with me, with management, and what was the one with the little fella? Well, he was so mad. He said I was the worst. I was the hardest employee to work with. And I would go, remember we had the fight? I go, who said that? And he wouldn't tell us who said it. And so I turned to him and I go, so I heard you suck the dog's D. Only I just said it out wide. And poor Bob's face, I could just see him on the side of me. We're sitting in an office with the door shut with his boss, my boss. And I asked him if I heard he had sucked dog's D's. And I could hear Bob go, oh.
The bubble above my head said, "You're not helping. You are not helping."
My point was, I don't have to tell you who said that. I just did it. And so we had this giant argument. But it's a never-ending cavalcade of those stories, right?
Oh yes, but there's been many times where Johnny would say something on the air, and I would go downstairs and take the beating for it. But that's that's part of the arrangement, part of the deal. So,
but it's certainly been a crazy run, man.
It has been a crazy run. I mean, just all the stories, the Rockfest, the battles, the fights, the issues with legal. All the things we've dealt with over all these years. It's been a great partnership. A lot of times it's an adversarial relationship between talent and management, but you guys, we definitely lined up on the same side because we had the same goal, which is if we do a great job for this audience, the rest is just going to take care of itself, and to the point that we are 20 years removed from a $750,000 fine, and we're still working. You are.
Yeah.
So.
It has been one of those rides, guys. And I started to tell you this earlier. Like the people in the show, Greg, if you can come in, if you got time, and Jake, you too.
They got nothing but time.
The chance meeting of all of these people years ago. Greg, my friend since I was 15 years old, for whatever reason, he was just a cool older guy who was a musician, and he got me a job at another record store, and then we worked at a skateboard shop together, and then he got a job in radio. And so I coattailed him to all three of those jobs, and I coattailed Greg to this one. And it has been one of those things to watch Greg become the greatest producer musically. His ability, his talent is so much further than anything I've ever seen in my life, and there'll never be a bigger fan. You know that, Greg. It's I'm your biggest fan, and I mean that, and you know that.
I know. It's a mutual admiration society between you and me, because I know I've told you a jillion times how, and it's interesting. Because Jesse brought it up about how the show changed. And I've told you countless times how you've become my favorite interviewer because you ask the right questions. And that's right. and you know,
you, man.
You know how to do it. And you've just continued to get better and better and better. And so, yeah.
Okay, that's just the part I want to tell you guys what I love about you. And I appreciate you.
I love you.
But man, there's no way this worked without you. It never could have worked without you. It couldn't have worked without anybody in this room. Jake, you when you left and you left it, I was absolutely crushed that first time because we were humming along and everything was cool. It was T and I and you and I think Murph was still with us.
Yeah.
And then Jake dropped this bomb and he said, "I'm going to go be an actor." And while you wanted your friend to do well and you wanted him, you're like, go become.
Yeah.
It broke my heart. And when you came back, it was like the prodigal son. And all of a sudden, man, we hit fourth gear again.
Yeah, I was going to say, so I went and saw Will Ferrell for 2 seconds, and then I was back.
Yeah. But your ability to get this thing on track, to bring the guests in, to manage that walkway between the stars, the celebrities, the managers, the publicists, everybody you've got to deal with in management, and then get them on the air is nobody else could do it.
Well, by far, the most important thing you ever taught me was it's never done. And we're both orphans now.
We are both orphans now. It's
but God love my mom. Rest in peace. After my dad died and you walked through the visitation line, we left there and went and ate. And she was, "That Johnny Dare's pretty good looking." Mom, stop looking. Dad's gone.
It's been a crazy ride, man. And then when Nick got here, man, I had no idea how wonderful it was going to be. I just didn't know, man. I could never in a million years have understood how well you were going to fit in with all of the different personalities in this room. And everybody is different, and everybody has to be dealt with differently to get the best out of us. And you've navigated that, and you're such a good human being, and so funny, and so sharp, and so you work harder than anybody else in this room. And I love you so much for it. And it's been an absolute joy to be with you. And I'm going to miss seeing you every day. I know we're going to find this again. And I think there's going to be another home for the show. But, man, I really am going to come Monday. I'm not going to drive here and see you guys.
Yeah.
Kyle, Dude, when T left, and T was such a huge part of the show, and T, I'm sorry that I tried to call you last night, brother. Without T, he's another one. Like, he was such an important part of the show, and he's such a crazy bastard, and truly bat-ass crazy. And when he left, I was like, well, man, this is bad. This is really bad. This is a huge hole in what we do. And you came along, and man, you have done such an incredible job to jump into something that takes so much time and is so hard to understand why we do it the way we do it, how we do it the way we do it, where we want things, how it has supposed to be, why it should be that way. It's an impossible thing to even talk about on the air, but you've done it.
Thank you. And to come in here and to be accepted as I was, because I know I'm not like everybody else in the room, but I was accepted so welcomely, and I'll never forget it. I started listening to you in 2001. And again, and later on down the road, I thought you and Greg were the same person because I couldn't tell the difference on your parody songs. But what drew me in was the fun, the energy, the reality. It was so amazing to listen to, and I can't thank you enough for actually being a part of this show and welcoming me in like you have. And I'll never forget this. I will never forget this. This was amazing.
I mean, you won't get any more kickers than balls.
My balls are plenty, don't worry.
But above all, this is really an open love letter to a city. It really is like that. You gave us a home. If we weren't at our best, you still loved us. Or you accepted us, or at least you forgave us and you came back again when we made mistakes, when it didn't go that way. Maybe we stayed out too late. Maybe we drank a little much. You still kept us, and you were always there with us. And much like family, man, you never gave up on us 32 years in. Everything we have, everything, the homes we live in, the clothes on our back, the moments that we were afforded, the people that we got to meet, the friends that we call friends now, family that we have now. It was all because we were afforded this time on a radio, microphone, headphones, and a transmitter, because we have this crazy connection. And I can't thank you enough for 32 years. And I would have never in a million years imagined my life could be this great. I love each and every one of you in this room, and I appreciate this entire city. Thank you.
Since 1993, tens of 20s of people have started their mornings listening to Johnny Dare on 98.9 The Rock. But sadly, all good things must eventually come to an end. And well, kids, today is that day. But how does one encapsulate a 32-year legacy into one relatively short bit? Well, I'm going to try. But I make no promises to the accuracy of all the facts, because let's face it, I used to drink a lot. Our story starts in 1993, when General Manager John Schweitzer and Program Director Doug Sorensen took a chance on a fresh-faced young man from Olathe named Johnny Dare. Oh, dude, that's me. First pairing him with Treetop Tyler, which didn't end all that great. And then with Murphy Wells, and the Johnny Dare and Murphy Show was born. And young Dare quickly established himself as someone who was willing to go the extra mile to get people's attention with things like Buried Alive.
Johnny Dare of KQRC Radio, ready to be buried alive for the hungry.
And Frozen Alive.
For 48 hours, Johnny Dare of KQRC The Rock lived up to his name and stayed inside a 5,000-pound block of ice.
Among other things, some of which may have put him on a watch list. Along the way, helping to make events like Rockfest and Freakers Ball some of the most legendary concert events in Kansas City history. And during that period, the world also met T-Bone, a special young fella who was unafraid to do things like, fly to Florida to poop in a jacuzzi, run around naked with lotto tickets taped to him, or stick a Roman candle up his ass.
Jesus!
And we won't get into the rest of his deviant behavior.
Oh, yeah.
Because frankly, we only have till 10. A couple of years in, I joined the show, and to my knowledge, this is a clip of the first parody song we ever did.
I'm talking about spam. A little love in a girl. Yeah, baby.
And now you know why we decided to let me do the singing from then on. Through those early years, other people on the show included Jim Bone, Jake the Phone Snake, New Kid, and after going to Hollywood to start an acting career, Jake came back again. Now, while some people, a.k.a. all the management we outlive, might like to dwell on things like all the times we had the police called on us, various and sundry parade riots, setting the lawn in Westwood on fire with a jet car, and that rather unfortunate $250,000 FCC fine, we also did a hell of a lot of good things, like Bikers for Babies, and the creation of what I think is our greatest achievement, Hope for the Holidays.
Thank you so much.
Hi, thank you, everyone. I really appreciate everybody who cared so much.
The joy of giving and Christmas and spending it with your family and making sure that it can be everything it can be is it's what heals all the wounds.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
I want to say thank you to everybody. It feels awesome.
I just want everyone to know what the gift that they do give and the relief that you give, it matters so deeply. And again, that let people know they're not alone. They're not going through this by themselves.
Hope for the Holidays is the greatest thing we've ever done, and I will die on that hill. Now, where was I? Murph eventually left the show, and the Johnny Dare Morning Show was born, with Carrie Coogan and Double J both taking their places in our history. But then along came this little ball of sunshine.
Gotta put it in my mouth, Daddy.
The pride of Sugar Creek, Nikki Pace.
Nikki Dawn, what's that half shirt you've got on? Could it be from a Foghat concert way gone by?
Who we quickly found out is as mean as she is tiny. Don't cross her path, you'll be filled with dread. Little Nikki Pacha, she wants you dead. Whips out a knife and out you have bled. Little Nikki Pacha, she wants you dead. Now, I would be remiss if I didn't mention some other things that happened along the timeline. Like Johnny unfortunately owning a bar with Craig Glazier. Becoming friends with the great Henry Winkler. Amazing broadcast from the Full Throttle Saloon in Sturgis and the Moonlight Bunny Ranch. The Jackal Family Reunion Shows. The world famous Easter keg hunt. Oh, and that time that Johnny's pancreas tried to kill him.
Longtime Kansas City disc jockey Johnny Dare is off the air and in the hospital.
Johnny Dare of 98.9 The Rock is being treated for pain related to an issue with his pancreas. The popular Kansas City radio host says he hopes to be out of the hospital and back on the air soon.
Oh, you're having a bad day? Did you die?
Spoiler alert, he didn't. Oh, and I couldn't make it through this whole thing without mentioning Mr. Electricity himself, A-hole Bob.
Invading my privacy.
Because the man's electric.
I'm so excited, and I just can't hide it. I'm about to lose control, and frankly, I don't like it.
Backing up a little bit, T-Bone left the show after 27 years, and along came our fractured little millennial Kyle. A cheerleader. A former gym coach. Just a boy from St. Joe in search of approval.
Daddy left Kyle.
For the duration. Now he can't get no validation. Kyle's got more issues than letters in the alphabet. Not to mention we think he may be a little bisexual. We think Kyle might be bisexual. Not that there's anything wrong with that. And that brings us to this.
In Kansas City, 98.9 The Rock's Johnny Dare confirmed on social media tomorrow morning will be their last show after 32 years on the air.
After 32 years, Johnny Dare will sign off from 98.9 The Rock. Dare and his morning show, part of a national round of layoffs.
Oh, sure, we've made some poor life choices over the years. But we've made a lot of amazing friends. And along the way, we've sadly lost a lot of friends. But here's the deal. 32 years is a long time. And in this business, it's a lifetime. And I think I speak for all of us here on the morning show when I say thank you. Thank you for being part of our lives. And thank you so much for letting us be part of yours. And don't be sad. It's not goodbye. We'll be around. And I was trying to think of how I wanted to end this bit. And I think I want to end it like this. This was the Johnny Dare Morning Show on 90.
The Johnny Dare Morning Show has left the building. Thank you and have a good afternoon.
Ryan Westward is powered by Shawnee Mission Ford. On a mission to save you money. Online at ShawneeMissionFord.com.
Kansas City's rock station is 98.9 The Rock. The Rock.
KQRC, Leavenworth.
Always live on the free Odyssey app.